Self-sabotage therapy sounds complicated, right? But here's the thing. Self-sabotage therapy is actually ridiculously simple once you understand what's really going on in your mind. That's the whole promise of this video, to show you how to stop self-sabotage without overcomplicating your life, without drowning in endless theories, and without beating yourself up every time you slip. Think about it. Have you ever wanted something badly, maybe a new career, a healthier lifestyle, or even just peace of mind, but somehow you became your own worst enemy? You hit snooze instead of going to the gym. You say yes when you wanted to say no. You put things off until the last minute. It feels like a mystery, like some deep psychological flaw, but it's not. The reason you self-sabotage has more to do with simple patterns than with being broken. And once you see those patterns, you can break them faster than you think. Now here's the twist. The very act of trying too hard to stop self-sabotage is often what keeps it alive. That's right. The harder you fight yourself, the deeper you dig the hole. But what if the way out was less about force and more about clarity? What if the path to therapy for self-sabotage wasn't a never-ending battle, but instead a mindset shift so simple you could start today? That's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video, with raw self-help advice you won't hear anywhere else. Recognizing the hidden patterns of self-sabotage. Most people think self-sabotage is a sign of weakness, but it's not. It's a habit, plain and simple. Imagine someone who keeps saying, "I'll start eating healthy on Monday." Monday comes, and suddenly there's pizza, excuses, and Netflix. That's not failure of character, that's a predictable cycle. Breaking self-sabotage patterns starts with seeing them for what they are. Repeated scripts you've been running unconsciously. Once you notice the script, you can rewrite it. Here's a little mental exercise. Grab a notebook and write down the last 3 times you caught yourself procrastinating or overthinking. Maybe you delayed a project, skipped a workout, or avoided a tough conversation. Then ask yourself, what was I really avoiding? This small practice feels simple, almost silly, but it's the first step in therapy for self-sabotage. Awareness creates a mindset shift, and that awareness is where personal growth therapy begins. The truth is, these patterns usually come disguised as comfort. Scrolling social media feels safe. Staying in a dead-end job feels familiar. Overeating feels rewarding in the moment. But the cost? Your self-respect, your mental clarity, and your dreams. Learning how to reset your life means getting brutally honest with these patterns, even when it stings. And once you catch yourself doing it in real time, that's when the real fun starts. Because awareness opens the door to change, and change is where we head next. The psychology behind self-sabotage. Here's the kicker. Self-sabotage psychology isn't about laziness, it's about protection. The brain has this sneaky way of keeping you in your comfort zone, even if that zone is toxic. Think of it like a safety alarm that goes off every time you step toward growth. Want to ask for a raise? Suddenly your mind screams, "Don't risk it." Want to stop procrastinating? The brain whispers, "You'll fail anyway, so why try?" That's not truth, it's just a false alarm on repeat. Consider this. Every time you put something off, you're actually trying to protect yourself from discomfort, rejection, or disappointment. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But it's like overeating cake because it comforts you in the moment while destroying your long-term health. Therapy for self-sabotage works when you realize your brain isn't your enemy. It's simply misfiring. Instead of fighting it, you learn to rewire it. That's the essence of emotional intelligence. Self-help. Understanding, not condemning, your own mind. One practical way to break this cycle is reframing fear into curiosity. For example, instead of thinking, "I can't give this presentation, I'll mess it up," say, "Let's see what happens if I give it my best shot." This change in perspective reduces the pressure and creates momentum. It's a raw piece of self-help advice, but it works wonders for mental clarity. And once you practice it, you'll start to see just how simple self-sabotage therapy really is, almost shockingly simple. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Awareness of the why leads directly into the how. How to stop procrastinating and overthinking. Procrastination and overthinking are like the evil twins of self-sabotage. They look different, but both steal your time and peace of mind. People often ask for procrastination help, thinking they need more willpower. Wrong. What they need is clarity. When the brain doesn't know where to start, it freezes. That's why breaking self-sabotage patterns starts with shrinking tasks down until they feel laughably easy. Want to write a book? Start with one messy paragraph. Want to get fit? Commit to 5 push-ups, not a full-blown gym routine. Here's a trick. Use the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, like sending that email, washing that dish, or setting up your workout clothes, do it right away. This tiny habit builds momentum, which kills procrastination faster than motivation ever could. It's a raw, self-help advice gem that works in real life. Pair this with mental clarity tips like journaling your thoughts before bed to stop overthinking, and suddenly you're no longer stuck, you're moving. And let's talk about environment, because that's where many fail. Trying to stop overthinking in a cluttered room or procrastinating in front of an open Netflix tab is like trying to diet with candy bars on your desk. Create habits of health by designing your space. Clean desk, set schedule, clear phone of useless apps. That's how you reset your life without sheer willpower. Once you see how simple these hacks are, you'll realize that ending self-sabotage isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. And here's the kicker. When procrastination is handled, the next big hurdle shows up. Building self-respect and emotional intelligence. Here's the truth. If you don't respect yourself, you'll keep falling back into self-sabotage. Think about it. Why would someone honor commitments to others, but constantly break promises to themselves? It's because their inner self doesn't fully trust their own word. Learning how to gain self-respect starts with small wins. Wake up when you said you would. Keep that workout appointment with yourself. Finish the book you started. These little victories prove to your mind that you're reliable, and reliability breeds respect. Emotional intelligence plays a huge role here too. Most people confuse it with being nice, but it's really about recognizing emotions without letting them drive the bus. For example, instead of overthinking a text message for hours, an emotionally intelligent response would be, "I feel nervous, but that doesn't mean I'm in danger." This is the foundation of personal growth therapy, acknowledging the feeling but choosing the action. It's the subtle art of becoming self-aware without drowning in self-judgment. Here's a practical exercise. At the end of your day, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do today that I'm proud of? What drained me? What can I adjust tomorrow? These reflections are therapy for self-sabotage disguised as journaling. Over time, they shift your perspective, helping you see patterns clearly. And once you build self-respect and emotional intelligence, you're not just bettering yourself, you're creating a shield against sabotage itself. But there's still one piece left: turning awareness into long-term habits that stick. Creating lasting change through mindset shifts. Here's the big secret. Lasting change doesn't come from sheer discipline. It comes from mindset shifts. Think of it like this. Someone who sees exercise as punishment will quit, but someone who sees it as a reward for their body's health will stick with it. That's why the best pieces of advice for life are rarely about grinding harder and more about changing perspective. When you learn to view challenges as training grounds instead of obstacles, suddenly you stop self-sabotage before it even starts. One way to lock this in is to design identity-based habits. Instead of saying, "I want to run 3 times a week," you say, "I'm a runner." Instead of, "I need to eat healthier," it becomes, "I'm someone who values energy and clarity." This subtle reframe works like self-improvement therapy for your brain. You're no longer forcing habits, you're living them. And with that, you reset your life in ways that feel natural, not forced. That's the kind of mindset shift that sustains personal growth long after motivation fades. And let's not forget, better habits create better environments, which create better identities. If you practice small wins daily, like morning routines, gratitude lists, or even scheduling downtime, you're reinforcing a cycle of success instead of sabotage. It's like programming a new operating system, one built on self-respect, awareness, and emotional intelligence. This is how you end self-sabotage for good, not through complicated theories, but through practical, everyday mindset shifts. And once this clicks, you realize the only limit left is how far you're willing to go. So here's the question. How much longer are you willing to let self-sabotage run your life? You've just learned that therapy for self-sabotage isn't some mysterious process. It's about breaking simple patterns, building emotional intelligence, and creating mindset shifts that stick. But knowledge without action changes nothing. The real magic happens when you apply even one of these mental clarity tips today, not tomorrow. Ask yourself right now, which part hit you hardest? Was it realizing why you self-sabotage, learning how to stop procrastinating, or seeing how to reset your life with identity-based habits? Your answer matters, because it's the doorway to ending self-sabotage once and for all. And remember, bettering yourself isn't about perfection. It's about progress, about becoming self-aware, and choosing a new path every single day. Now here's my challenge to you. Pick one piece of raw self-help advice from this video and act on it before the day ends. Write it down, do it, feel the shift. Then come back and tell me in the comments, what did you do and how did it feel? And if you're serious about personal growth therapy and want the best pieces of advice for life delivered straight to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss another chance to change your perspective, gain self-respect, and step into the habits of health that will reset your life.